you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with uatv. The law on higher education in 2014 provided the universities with greater autonomy. What does this mean in practice for universities? What has changed over 3 years? To discuss this, we're joined in our studio today by Lyudmila Tatsenko, Head of Education and Society Department at the British Council in Ukraine. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
So first of all, tell us about the Ukraine Higher Education Leadership Development Program.
You started from the reform and...
you want to dwell on the reform, that's fine.
I think I will explain why Leadership Development Program. You are absolutely right that the issue of autonomy is a key issue in reforming the education. So because it was too obvious that centralization of governance did not bring really positive results. But how universities can become more autonomous? What do they need to use this autonomy? I think, well, the answer we found was, in discussion with many stakeholders in Ukraine, that they probably need new leaders. And that was also prompted by cases when universities got this autonomy, and they could elect rectors, for example. Rectors were not appointed anymore. It was interesting that in some cases, the staff members preferred to go for those who do not offer any changes, who go for traditional
conservative.
I didn't want to use the word conservative, but that's probably the right one. Yes, conservative ways. So how would it develop? How do we get new leaders who can lead real changes in the universities? So we thought that Leadership Development Program might be one of the ways to support the reform in this aspect.
What is the idea behind the program?
Actually, well, I represent British Council in Ukraine, so we looked at what experience the UK has in this area, and also the tradition of autonomy at the universities is famous, but there is a leading national agency which is called Leadership Foundation for Higher Education, and they offer a number of programs in the UK for senior leaders, for new leaders, and we decided to look at this experience closely, whether it would match the expectations in Ukraine. So that's why we planned it very carefully, because we never transfer the program from the UK to Ukraine, because it's a different context, it's a different mentality in a way.
It might not work, actually. You need to adopt it. That is totally understandable.
It might not work. And actually, I wanted to ask you, if I say leadership development, who do you think the participants of the program are?
Well, I'm thinking of high school students. I'm not thinking about universities. I'm a Flex alumnus, so that's why I probably think about high school kids. But university students are also an option. I wouldn't think of people my age, like 30 or 35.
Actually, when we say leadership program, people usually say, okay, that's a group of rectors or vice rectors who are part of the program. But in our case, the program is different. It's a university team, which is very, very vertical. So it's not the leadership. But we do have a senior leader. It's usually, as a part of the team, is a rector or vice rector. We can have a dean. We can have a head of the department. But in each team, we always have a student. So it's an absolutely innovative concept for a team working in a Ukrainian institution in delivering, in planning and implementation of a change project.
For how long has the program been launched?
We are now in our 3rd year. We started in 2016. And during the 3 years of the program, we are involving 40 Ukrainian universities. And actually, yesterday, we just finished a 3-day event for Year 3 program participants. These are 40 new universities that joined the program this year.
Okay, but what are the results that you've got so far from 2 full years of working with the program?
Well, we had 26 universities already on the program, which means 26 change projects implemented at the universities. And the universities decided what was the most important for them at this stage. For some universities, it was internationalization. For some universities, it was project office. For some, it was closer cooperation with business and making programs more real and better quality for graduates. So different themes for different universities. I would say a few words about how the program is structured.
Sure.
And it would be then clearer, because we have a team working on the project for a year, and they have a series of trainings. Trainings are delivered by UK trainers, but also by Ukrainian experts, because that needs to be, everybody needs to be plugged into the situation in Ukraine. We also offer the opportunity to partner with a UK institution, and I think this is what attracts universities to the program as well. But this is a very specific part of the program which is included into Ukrainian program. We thought initially that it would be a very good idea to take the university team, bring them to the UK, and for them, with their own eyes, to see how this or that issue is being dealt in the UK.
Did it work?
Well, I think so. And it was not just one visit, because, well, there are memorandums signed, there are joint applications for further funding, and I would say that we have very good successful cases of, for example, Lviv Polytechnic, who went to visit Kingston.
Okay, go University. On. I want to hear a success story.
I know you want a success story, girl.
Of course.
An example. Went to Kingston for a study visit, established partnerships, exchanged Kingston staff, came to Lviv. They applied for Erasmus program funding, and now they have a program of academic mobility, and students and staff going and working exchanges. And that's not the only case. Kremenchuk, Mikhail Ostrogradsky National University, University of Abertay. So there are examples. So we see that after the program finished, actually, we are keeping in touch and asking all the time the question, is there life after the program? What's happening with your UK partnerships? How are they developing? And we are trying to have this alumni, if you have association, because we now, well, the third year only started, but it will be 14 universities, well, at least 7 people in each university. So we hope to have this a cohort of change agents. Well, that's a popular word, but I think this is very much true, because as part of their work on the project, what the university teams are doing, they are trying to share their knowledge. They arrange a series of events to share their positive experience with universities in their city, in their region, and wider.
Okay, being on the 3rd year of the program, now you know quite a successful formula how to work it. The only change that you've voiced so far is that the number of the universities who is going to be participating enlarged. Any new changes that are going to happen in the program within the next year?
We do introduce changes, and well, the first change is that we're implementing it with Ukrainian colleagues, because we want to make this program sustainable. I mean, what if the British Council is not continuing the program because, well, we can't go on doing the same thing?
How about it becomes a Ukrainian universities initiative on its own?
It's actually the initiative of our Ukrainian partners, which is the Institute of Higher Education, and even at the initial stage, the agreement was that in year 1, it's UK trainers who show us how the program can be built. In year 2, it's like mix delivery. In year 3, this is what we saw.
Ukrainians only.
It's almost all Ukrainian, but we still have UK input. But in year 4, when the program continues, we expect it to be delivered by Ukrainian experts.
How's it working out so far? Is it going to happen?
I think it is already happening, and I think it is working really well. And another innovation, which is only in Ukraine, is that expert in a particular field, for example, if the team is working on internal quality assurance system, we have a coordinator working with the team, an expert, who really knows what quality assurance is about and supports the team in implementation of their project.
Okay. Globally, How would you evaluate the main aims of the program? Because clearly it's not just the cooperation between the universities in Ukraine and abroad, globally. What does this program mean?
I think, yes, cooperation is important for us because, well, we are British Council and we would like to support this cooperation.
Sure.
But that's definitely an element which added sort of weight to the program. But I think the main... well, if we speak about the impact, it's changing perceptions, it's different paradigm of thinking, different paradigm of leadership. But we understand that it won't happen overnight.
Of course.
So we can't say that, okay, I've attended an excellent British Council event and I now a completely new leader.
Of course, it's not happening
it takes time. And actually, we're also having a component for we call it new leaders or future leaders, and that's an individual development for those who in the future might become rectors, vice-rectors, and who would lead their institutions. So that's a little bit different program because it is more focused on individual development. And it's not a short program because they are going through 3 modules, they work on tasks in between. So, and actually you ask about the changes in year 3. We wanted to reintegrate, and that's what happens this year, both teamwork and individual leaders, so that we have at least 7 people working in the university ready to implement changes and work together as an effective team.
Ukrainians, how much of a leader material are they?
Well, never thought about it. I think we actually talked to our UK consultants, and that was a question asked by us from the British Council because we want to understand how the program works. But that was also the question asked by our Ukrainian participants, how the UK colleagues looking at and spending quite a lot of time with Ukrainian colleagues, what do they think? And I think it was an honest answer that they're impressed by the energy, that the participants and the team become younger and younger.
That's good.
And by the results which we discuss at the end, and we also involve UK colleagues, although the context in the UK and in Ukraine different, but well, challenges sometimes can be similar.
Well, if there is no challenge, it's not interesting enough,
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for having this conversation with me, and thank you for the information you just explained.
Thank you.
That was Lyudmila Tatsenko. She's the Head of Education and Society Department at the British Council in Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with UATV.